I've been following the FIRE movement for over a decade now, and one thing I've heard nonstop during that time is that it's only for people making $200,000 or more. Now back then, that wasn't really true, but since 2020, with costs exploding, housing turning into a bad joke, and the job market getting tougher, a lot more people are starting to feel that way. Here's the thing though, I don't think the FIRE movement is dead. I just think it's evolved. The real problem is too many people are still following a plan built for an economy we don't live in any longer. So let's go through what FIRE really looks like today, how the numbers have shifted, and the moves you can make to still get there without turning your working years into a miserable waiting game. For those of you uninitiated, the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early, is a lifestyle and financial strategy aimed at achieving two main goals: gaining financial freedom and retiring much earlier than the traditional retirement age like 65. Financial independence means having enough money saved and invested to cover all of your living expenses without relying on a paycheck from a job. Retiring early means leaving the traditional workforce well before the standard retirement age, sometimes in your 30s, 40s, or early 50s. But retirement in FIRE doesn't always mean sitting on a beach and doing nothing. It often means having the freedom to do work or projects you love without worrying about the money. People are drawn to this movement because it offers freedom and control over their time. Instead of working 40 plus years in a job they might not love, their goal is to escape the quote-unquote rat race a little bit early and live life on their terms. So if the old formulas don't work the same way anymore, what does FIRE actually look like today? We've got to start with a reality check on the numbers, because like it or not, they set the framework for the whole plan that you're building. I kind of like to think of it in terms of how things were in 2019 and earlier versus after 2020, since it's a good indication of how much things have changed, because we all know that things have really changed since then. Before I reveal the updated numbers I came up with, please remember that these are not rigid cutoffs. They're ballpark guidelines to help you get a sense of scale so you understand how each one is categorized and the differences between all of them. LeanFIRE is still the highly frugal, minimalist version of FIRE. It's about covering the essentials: basic housing, simple means, low-cost hobbies, and cutting back significantly during your working years and retirement to hit independence faster. It usually works best in low-cost-of-living areas for people who value freedom over comforts. It's often described as comfortably scraping by without luxuries like frequently traveling or dining out. If you're like me, then you're probably rolling your eyes at being able to live on $25,000 per year. Like, yeah, right, but there are people in the US pulling it off. And no, I am not going to make a dirty, stinky hippie joke here, even though it's pretty tempting. Standard FIRE is the balanced middle-class version. You're covering a reasonable standard of living similar to the average household, with some travel, hobbies, and the occasional splurge without going overboard. It requires solid savings during your career, but doesn't demand extreme penny pinching like we would see with the LeanFIRE folks. This is for people who want a typical retirement lifestyle earlier than usual, maybe keeping a family home and a moderate level of entertainment in the process. The ChubbyFIRE group wants a comfortable, cushy setup that bridges everyday stability with some upscale elements. Think reliable healthcare, nicer vacations, and home upgrades without going full luxury. This tier builds a bigger buffer for flexibility, and it's for people who want upper middle class perks like quality dining or expensive hobbies while still being slightly mindful of costs. FatFIRE is the luxury, abundant version of FIRE. This lifestyle supports high-end experiences like frequent international travel, premium homes, or fine dining as a normal part of life. It usually requires aggressive earning and saving, often from those higher income careers, and allows for zero lifestyle sacrifice. But let's be honest, even if those numbers make sense on paper, it doesn't change the fact that for most people, the path to reach FIRE has gotten a lot more difficult for many different reasons. First, the obvious one is the cost of living in general. Even if inflation slows, a lot of the price jumps from the past few years aren't going anywhere. The cumulative inflation is here to stay no matter what. Groceries, utilities, insurance, and the stuff you can't really avoid all went up. Yeah, sure, we may see the price of random things like televisions go down, but the last time I checked, I cannot eat my television, so it's a little bit irrelevant in most of these cases where we start to see prices of certain things go down. Second is housing. Whether you are renting or buying, prices have climbed so much that in some areas, a starter home now requires either a second income, a massive down payment, or a willingness to live so far from work that you might as well live in a different time zone. This is one of those expenses that can help to reach financial independence so you're not at the whims of a random landlord jacking up your rent. With the costs basically doubling over the past 5 years, it's become that much harder to achieve FIRE. Then there's the job market. Some fields are doing great, but others are starting to crack with more offshoring, automation, and fewer long-term high-paying roles you can count on. Generally speaking, real wage growth has been non-existent over the past few years. That makes it harder to maintain the income growth you need to accelerate your savings for financial independence or early retirement. I'll go into this in more detail and lay out some of my solutions later in the video, but I'm a little bit concerned about this area over the next 10 years. LeanFIRE folks have arguably taken the biggest hit here. When you're running a tight budget to begin with, there's a lot less wiggle room to absorb cost increases without delaying your timeline, followed by the standard FIRE group and less so the chubby and FatFIRE groups, since they can absorb these economic shifts a lot easier. The truth is, yes, the math is a lot tighter than it used to be. You might need to save more, adjust your lifestyle expectations, or give yourself a longer runway. But something I want you to keep in mind is that harder doesn't mean impossible. It just means your plan needs to fit today's economy instead of the one that we had in 2019 and earlier. With all of these headwinds in mind, we've seen different variations of financial independence retire early become a lot more popular. Think of them like little subcategories that give people more flexibility to help them adapt to today's economy and let them design a retirement that works for them. CoastFIRE is when you front load your retirement savings early in your career so your investments can grow on autopilot. Once you've hit that magic number, you can back off a bit and just coast, meaning you just earn enough to cover your current expenses and let compound growth handle the rest. An example would be Yuki, who is 32. He's worked his tail off since graduating college and has built his investment accounts up to $300,000. If he stops contributing and his portfolio compounds at an average 7% per year, by age 60, it grows to about $1.9 million. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that's roughly $79,000 gross per year. If returns averaged 6% instead, he ends up with $1.5 million and about $61,000 per year. And at 5%, he's looking at $1.1 million and about $47,000 per year. Since he built that much up by 32, he can choose whether or not he wants to take a less stressful, lower paying job without it affecting his retirement plan. Another path that's grown in popularity is BaristaFIRE. It's where you're financially independent enough to leave your high stress job but still work part-time, often for benefits like health insurance. That part-time work covers part of your expenses and the rest comes from your portfolio. Therefore, you actually need a smaller portfolio than normal. For example, Ali is 45 and has $800,000 invested. He leaves his tech job for a part-time gig at a local coffee shop, making $25,000 per year plus health benefits. His annual expenses are $55,000, so he withdraws $30,000, which is roughly a 3.75% withdrawal rate from his portfolio to fill that gap. Then there's flexible FIRE, which is sometimes called flow FIRE, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're financially stable enough to work when, how, and if you want to, but mix it with other income streams. Your withdrawal rate might change year to year depending on what you've got going on. Take Oscar, for example, who's 50 with $900,000 invested. He also earns $20,000 from a small online business and $10,000 renting out his basement. He spends $60,000 a year, so he only needs $30,000 from his investments. That's only 3.3% of his portfolio. Even though most of these don't work for me personally, what I like about these versions is that they prove that FIRE doesn't have to be quit work forever and live off your portfolio. Each one of them shows that you can buy back time, lower stress, and design a lifestyle you actually enjoy even before you're 100% financially independent. So how do you actually make FIRE work when the rules have changed? It comes down to adjusting your strategy for the world we are in right now. Your income is going to be the lifeblood of your FIRE journey. The problem is that I'm very concerned for a lot of people when it comes to the future of work. To be clear and get it out of the way now, I am not trying to be an alarmist here. But the way that AI is impacting nearly every single industry, there's the potential that future incomes will be at risk. The next 10 years could get really, really weird. To stay up on and increase your income during these weird times, one method I use with a lot of my one-on-one coaching clients is what I like to call the up, out, and in method. Up is where you move up within your current employer to increase your income. Out is where you look for opportunities with new employers to boost your salary. In is where you learn new skills or improve existing ones to increase your value and earning potential. Of these three, the in is going to be your best chance to outrun this AI monster that could be coming for a lot of jobs, and in turn, your money. So take a good hard look and an honest look at your current career and figure out how likely it is that you'll be replaced within the next 5 or 10 years. You'll likely fall into one of 3 categories. Group 1 is low risk. These are jobs like teaching, healthcare, and other human touch roles that aren't going anywhere soon, so you're in the low risk category for now. Group 2 is extremely high risk and basically already doomed. These are those roles that have a one-way trip to extinction. If that's you, start figuring out how to pivot to a more resilient field. Group 3 is medium to high risk and are those roles that could see 30 to 50% of the workforce cut once AI is fully integrated. If you're in Group 3, don't panic quite yet. I'm in this Group 2 and I promise I am not freaking out. The only solution is to find a way to reskill as quickly as possible. Reskilling means taking the expertise you already have and adding skills that will make you indispensable when AI becomes a fully integrated part of your industry. That might mean learning data analysis, coding, or how to implement AI tools in your specific field. Instead of being someone who lies down and accepts the fate of our AI overlords, you have to be a lot more proactive with how you approach this. I've personally created a 12 to 18 month roadmap to start reskilling so I'm less likely to be replaced. If anyone is curious about how to create a roadmap for themselves, then let me know in the comments below and I'll share how I came up with this plan. I have no problem sharing it because I want you all to be able to have a job and continue working. And again, this isn't a time to start freaking out. We're still early enough in this process to where you can create an advantage for yourself if you choose, but if you don't, then sorry, not sorry. And if I am completely wrong and AI doesn't fully take over your job, then at the very least, you've added a new skill that should increase your income in the future. Because we all know that AI is never going away. So you better learn to work with it. If there's one skill that's become non-negotiable in today's economy, it's knowing exactly where your money is going and making sure it's working for you, not against you. This doesn't mean obsessing over every single purchase, but you do need to have a system that tells you how much is coming in, where's it going, and how much is left to invest towards the FIRE goal. The truth is, in a high inflation, high uncertainty world, sloppy money management is like proposing to every single girl you meet on the streets. All you're going to end up with is a bunch of alimony payments and an empty bank account. So whether you use a spreadsheet, any one of those apps, or a notebook, it doesn't matter. The key is intentionality. Intentionality looks like prioritizing your biggest goals first, automating as much as possible so you're not relying on willpower, and track progress monthly so you can adjust before small mistakes destroy your plan. To make financial independence and early retirement work today, you don't have to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. You just need to understand how to squeeze the most out of every single dollar in your pocket without burning yourself out in the process. If there's any way to get ahead on costs you know are coming down the line over the next 10 years, start right now. Think of it like financial prepping except for your FIRE journey. Contributing to something like an HSA can help cover future medical bills. If you feel more comfortable with it, invest the money to give it more chances to grow. I have a ton of HSA videos that I will link at the top of the screen and down in the description below. Start pre-saving for those big ticket items we know are going to happen, like your car or home maintenance items such as roof, HVAC, appliances, or whatever else, so there are no surprises. I've been doing this sort of thing with my car investment fund for the past 6.5 years. Since the purchase was far enough out, I pretended like I still had a monthly car payment and invested the money instead of parking it in a savings account. That extra growth added around $12,000 to the balance, and I am right now in the process of searching for my next car. As things get more expensive, it's worth reevaluating where you live. Staying in a high cost of living area without a matching high income can add many years to your timeline. Even moving one state over or to a less trendy neighborhood can free up thousands of dollars a year for investing. To be transparent, the way that I see it, there's some cities out there that are effectively signaling that they do not want you to live there unless you earn well above average. And while some people do scrape by in these high cost of living areas, they're clinging to a version of that city that does not exist anymore. Sometimes the best financial move is changing your zip code instead of cutting your morning coffee. No one's giving out awards to people who can barely afford to live on a $150,000 income in a high cost of living area. That badge of honor does not exist, so stop trying to pursue it. At its core, the FIRE movement is about rejecting social norms. It means taking a proactive stance with your money instead of letting life happen to you. Yes, there are of course obstacles and setbacks, but the people who pursue FIRE refuse to let those excuses keep them from financial independence. If you're pursuing FIRE, especially the more flexible versions we talked about, there's a good chance you'll need access to some of your investments before that traditional retirement age. That's where a taxable brokerage account can be an absolute game changer. It's one of the most overlooked tools for early retirees. Watch this video to your left where I break down exactly how it works for the FIRE movement. Hit that like button before you go. I'll see you in the next one. Done.